Heavy rains throughout the weekend meant that both practice and qualifying were completely washed out. The rulebook states that when this happens, the starting lineup is determined by the random draw that is used to set the qualifying order. So the Cromwell Pole Award will go to AJ Young and Barton Sandy for rounds 1 and 2 respectively. Unfortunately, neither of them will get the 5 bonus points for winning the pole because it was basically handed to them, but it will still count as their first career poles. I can't say I was looking forward to seeing AJ Young lead the field to the green flag. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person who thought it was going to be a complete disaster. In other news, Libby Bell has been cleared to race this week after her scary incident at California. She spent a few days in the hospital for dizziness and other possible head injury symptoms. But since it's been about a month since the race at California, she has had ample time to recover. And so, again, she has been cleared to drive. And now, on to the race itself. This is going to be interesting, watching AJ Young lead the field to the green flag for the first time in his career. Namimura in car 39 was scheduled to qualify second, and so she started on the outside of the front row. And Mura gets a much better run into turn 1. AJ Young is extremely slow. Ben Atkins dives to the inside and puts him directly in the middle of both rows. Oh, look out, this is going to be sketchy. Well, he's faring much better than his teammate Derek Dunning, who I just saw smack the wall coming off of turn 2. And look at that big jam up that the O2 car created. He washes up the track and lets everyone else by. So, on the first lap, AJ Young goes from first to second to last, and he smacks the wall off of turn 4 to boot. And I have to say, that went so much better than I think most of us were expecting. But just look at the battle for the lead. After everyone dispatches AJ Young, coming down the backstretch, David Krikorian makes it 3 wide on Rachel Rainsford and Namimura, and Krikorian comes out on top after a very hairy first lap. Laura Cyrus is now trying to work on the 171 car for the second spot. Gavin DeGray is making his first ARLA Elite Series start in the second Garcia Aragon Motorsports car. DeGray attempted the Mini Indy 500 with this same team. He failed to qualify, and he is not doing too much better today. He is currently in 33rd. Also making her first ARLA Elite Series start is Aoi Tanizaka, the owner of S-Tech Autosport. That team has been exclusively fielding the 59 car driven by Jessica Graham this season, but Tanizaka decided to field a car for herself in her home country. Tanizaka is up to a respectable 16th on lap number 4. The first caution came out on lap 6. Watch Makoto Yamada in the 22. He hooks Eric Jackson, which in turn sends Rip Tyler spinning down the front stretch as Bobby Porteau in the 74 pushes him. Porteau gets that car slowed down enough, pulls out, and Yamada gets into the 74. Well, Yamada's not off to a very impressive start in front of his home crowd, is he? The entire field pitted under this caution, but David Krikorian's crew could not get him out first. Laura Cyrus leads the field to the restart with Bob Steffens in second, and Krikorian's going to have to settle for third. Cyrus is second in points coming into this race. She has been slowly chipping away at Ebenezer Quiggles' points lead, as Quiggles has had numerous problems in the last few weeks, while Cyrus, on the other hand, has not had a single DNF this season. She's really been doing wonders for Motor Assault Racing, which is finally starting to regularly compete for wins, as Cyrus has a problem 1 lap after the restart. A cut tire on the 102 car will put her a lap down. Well, I guess this is one win that Motor Assault Racing won't be competing for today, unless Cyrus can work her way back in front of the leaders before another caution comes out. In the meantime, this will put Bob Steffens in the lead of the race, but David Krikorian gets a huge run on him through turns 1 and 2, so Steffens' lead is very short-lived. Behind Steffens are Kevin Monroe and Leslie Riggs. Monroe was on his way to one of his worst seasons ever before he picked up that win last week at California, and Leslie Riggs has been doing some Dash Cup racing over here in Japan. In fact, she won the race at Osaka in a dominant fashion. It's good to see Leslie Riggs back in victory lane, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to be seeing her back in victory lane in ARLA, considering some of the runs that she's had lately. Carlo DiPreto is back in the 26 car for MRD Motorsports this week. DiPreto was sort of demoted to test driver status as Jim Hayes took over the 26 full-time, but DiPreto will be driving this car here in Japan as Jim Hayes has his TM Lights commitments. But DiPreto has shown a bit of improvement. He is up to 11th right now. Gavin DeGray's dismal debut gets worse as the engine expires on car number 720 just past the pit entrance, so DeGray will stop the car on the inside of the front stretch and bring out our second caution of the day. Namimura, another one of the hometown heroes, has a minor problem and has to pit just as the leaders are coming around to take the caution, so Mura will go a lap down. Mura and her teammate Seiju Dejao are both from the Motegi area, so this has to be especially bad for her morale. However, she does start as the first car on the inside line on the restart. Bob Steffens is the leader as David Krikorian's crew once again fails to get him out of the pit lane in first. Yevgeny Kuznetsov restarted in second and Ali Riggs in third. And Riggs makes it 3 wide down the backstretch. Into turn number 3, she slides up the track into Laura Cyrus, and that sort of knocks Bob Steffens to the high side a bit. So that was a very aggressive move by Ali Riggs, but it does put her in the lead of the race. Now we're still in the early stages of this race, and I don't think Steffens is going to appreciate being knocked around at this point. And this isn't the first time that a driver from the Team Thunder program has had a run-in with Ali Riggs. I recall in the Master Cup Series at Decatur last year, Riggs and Anthony Griffith got together and had an altercation after the race. And I heard that Griffith's reaction to the incident almost cost him his job at Power Steering Incorporated. And now back to the action. You saw Bob Steffens get a huge run on Riggs off of turn 4, and he will take the lead back without too much of a problem. I thought Riggs would put up much more of a fight than that. And David Krikorian in the 32 has made his way back up to third. Krikorian got around Riggs without much of a problem, and here he comes after Bob Steffens for the lead once again. Laura Cyrus is out in front of the leaders right now, but not for long. Krikorian comes around to put the 102 car back a lap down. So it seems that David Krikorian has established himself as the dominant driver early on. Kevin Monroe has slid back in the running order since the last time we saw him. He is now in 5th place with Yevgeny Kuznetsov behind him. But so far, it looks like that the defending series champion is back to his usual form. Seiju Dejao in the second Kurt Walker car has a problem, and he will fall a lap down. Sarabai, the company that is sponsoring this race, is also on car number 91 this week, and for the rest of the Japanese tour, so this is not a very good showing for them. Leslie Riggs has moved up into the second spot. The lap cars of Laura Cyrus and Isaac Leitner are just ahead of her, but you cannot even see David Krikorian at all. He has completely walked away from the field. Yevgeny Kuznetsov had a mechanical problem that the team could not figure out for the rest of the race, and unfortunately Kuzi will fail to finish. Lucas Sweeney's day comes to an end in a cloud of smoke. He will pull that car off to the side and stop, bringing out the third caution of the day. Ali Riggs is the leader on the restart, and she gets a big jump over Bob Steffens. David Krikorian is back in third. His crew continues to be rather slow. I would expect a team meeting at Speed Vision after this. Krikorian's crew is just not dependable today. In the meantime, Ali Riggs gets away from the field as the rest of the leaders are held up by lapped cars. This is probably the best run we've seen from the 19 car after Riggs got 3 victories last year, including the 150 laps of Dwyer, which of course made way for the Mini Indy 500. But Riggs' rivals would break free from the lap cars, and here comes David Krikorian making another run at the lead. Laura Cyrus in the 102 has once again made her way in front of the leaders. If she gets a caution now, she'll be back on the lead lap if she can hold them off. In the meantime, Krikorian is still working on the 19 car. Oh, Riggs is very slow off of turn 2, and Krikorian takes advantage. Zachary Sins, the round 2 winner last week, makes his way forward as the race goes on. He is currently challenging Leslie Riggs for 4th. Riggs finished second to him last week, but I'm pretty sure that she's not prepared to let that happen again, and she gets a big run into turn 1, trying to defend the position, and Riggs is successfully able to hold off the 99. Caution 4 came out on lap number 54. Todd Stater is Derek Dudding in front of him, coming off of turn 2. Stater hits the 68 and gets jacked up into the air by the 02, setting off a big crash on the backstretch. Nikos Kostopoulos hammers into the 15 car. Makoto Yamada is involved as Taylor Brillin slides up in front of him, and then Edwin Schwartzlowski in the 66 piles into the back of his teammate. Aoi Tanizaka is also involved after she had a very respectable run going, but that's not the worst of it. Mac Ryland slams into the 22 and then plunges into the fence in the infield. Ryland is back in the 86X this week after Kellen Rogers subbed for him at California, and now he was involved in a very scary incident. Looking at this from the aerial shot, he does a good job avoiding the 15 of Todd Stater, but he piles into the 22 of Makoto Yamada, and he is very lucky that that fence didn't give way. Otherwise, he probably would have fallen into that tunnel down there. But thankfully, Ryland was released from the infield care center after an extensive checkup. Now here's the initial contact between Todd Stater and Derek Dudding, and it looks like Stater didn't really do enough to try to avoid the 68. Well, forgive me if I find it very difficult to not blame Derek Dudding for being so slow in the first place, but I do agree that Todd Stater probably could have moved over a bit more, and that was a big impact from the 728 car. Stater and Kostopoulos both climbed out of their cars, though. Oh, and we have a wreck between Eric Jackson and Namimura coming back to the caution, and Ben Adkins slams into the 39 car. Oh, Adkins had a good run last week, and he did not need this. And they also saw Taylor Brillin go for a spin. She and Bobby Porteau get together. It looks like Brillin was trying to pit, but Porteau wasn't. But I'm not sure how they didn't see each other, but race control assured us that these two incidents would be looked at. The field did not pit under this caution, so Krikorian actually gets to keep the lead. Bob Steffens is second and Zachary Zins is third. He sort of caught Leslie Riggs off guard before the caution came out. Laura Cyrus is still a lap down, but it's looking more and more unlikely that anyone would be able to get by the 32 car. Last Row Autosport is actually doing something for once. Nick Howard currently runs in 8th in the 58 car. Now, Last Row had some pretty good runs last year, but they've sort of fallen off, and we're not entirely sure what this team is planning in 2013, other than the occasional blurb, which really doesn't mean anything. But it's still good to see this team running better than they usually do. And right in front of Nick Howard, Carla De Preto is in the 7th position, so De Preto has been getting slightly better as the laps wind down. Zachary Zins got by Bob Steffens for second, and we're watching Zins on lap number 82. It is a very lonely second for Zins, as there are no cars in sight in either direction. But still, Zins is doing a fantastic job following up on his victory last week, which was the first for both him and his team, A1 Racing. The rest of the top 5 so far are Leslie Riggs 3rd, Rachel Rainsford 4th, and Kevin Monroe in 5th. Rainsford is on her way to yet another top 5 finish, and she has had nothing but top 10s ever since the Mini Indy 500. I can't help but feel that a win is coming for that 171 car very shortly. But back up front, it was all about David Krikorian. He comes off of the final corner and down the front stretch for the last time. Oh, Rip Tyler blows his engine in front of Krikorian, but Krikorian takes his second career victory and first of the season. That was a bit hairy for Krikorian, and Rip Tyler was able to limp across the finish line to score some points. He officially finished in 17th, 3 laps down. Anyway, Krikorian grabs the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps. Zins is second. Leslie Riggs has a fantastic 3rd place run. Rachel Rainsford 4th. Kevin Monroe 5th. Then Lane Cranston, Joseph Howard, and Andy Pearson. We haven't talked about those guys all day, but they pull out some very good finishes. Allie Riggs fell to 9th, and Nick Howard rounds out the top 10. Now on to round number 2, where Barton Sandy leads the field to the green flag. Kishia Yokoto in the 111 Hibiki Sport car is in second, but Yokota is very slow at the start. In the meantime, Barton Sandy is being chased by Carla Rosinski. Griesberger brought back the number 09 car for the Dash Cup regular, and Rosinski is making great use of this opportunity as she goes for the lead on lap number 1. Sandy slides back into second. Jason Bates is third with Bill Tissum in fourth. Tissum won at Albuquerque a couple races ago, but then he finished 25th, one lap down at California. So Tissum, who at the age of 40 is the oldest driver in the rookie class, is trying to bounce back from that dismal performance, but he is being chased down by Radomir Staniachev, another Dash Cup driver in the field today, driving the second car for Rus Autosport, and Staniachev almost gets into the back of the 07 car coming through turn 1, but thankfully they don't get together. And Staniachev, the Bulgarian driver, makes a run at Tissum, coming down the backstretch. He will have the preferred line going into turn 3, and Staniachev moves up into second, making it a Dash Cup 1-2 in the opening laps. I wonder if the Dash Cup drivers are just trying to get back at Leslie Riggs for dominating at Osaka. And now Staniachev is trying to make a run at Carla Rosinski for the lead. Bill Tissum looks on from third, waiting for another opportunity. Herbie Finkelberg has made his way up to fourth after his teammate's victory in the last round. Staniachev takes the lead off of turn 4 without too much of a problem, and this should give some hope to Rus Autosport after Yevgeny Kuznetsov failed to finish round 1. Takumi Nagata is another one of the Japanese drivers. He is in the second Hibiki car as a teammate to Kishiya Yokota, but Nagata is going a lap down to Carla Rosinski, so Nagata is off to a very dismal start. He did not fare much better when he was a regular in the TM Lights. In fact, he would crash quite often, and he just hit the wall coming off of turn 4. Jack Dempsey is making his first ARLA Elite Series start, subbing for Greg Woodard in the 41 car for Terra International Motorsports. Dempsey, the native Australian, hosted a wildlife show called The Wild Side, but his show was canceled over an incident involving a slug and salt. Since then, Dempsey has taken up motorsports, and he is currently running a very strong 12th in his debut. Kishiya Yokota breaks down in the middle of the backstretch, and that will bring out a caution as his car comes to a standstill right in the middle of the racing line, but thankfully nobody hits him. Radomir Staniachev has a problem during his pit stop, and after a great performance in the opening laps, he will go a couple of laps down. So that just continues a miserable day for Rus Autosport. Carla Rosinski is the leader on the restart after pit stop cycle out under caution. And in second place is Shinji Tanaka, former TM Lights driver, and since his run in that series, he has been a test driver for Star Team Nemoto, and that very team is fielding his entry in this race. So far, Tanaka has taken that 839 car into second. In the meantime, Carla Rosinski is trying to get away from the field as Alex Carson in the 93 has now moved up into second, and he is trying to chase down the 09. Jessica Graham is competing in this round after her team owner, Aoi Tanizaka, had a respectable run before she was taken out. But Graham is not quite faring as well as Tanizaka. She is currently in 32nd, one lap down. Oh, she almost got together with Jennifer Goodwin in the 696 car. I can't say this bodes well for Graham if she's doing worse than her team owner. Don't quote me on that, though. Alex Carson had a cut tire and he had to pit from second, so that takes him out of contention early on unless he can catch some cautions. Andy Pearson was the only Pearson-Sweeney driver who had some good luck today. Remember that Lucas Sweeney blew up in round 1. Scott Dalitz also had a cut tire, and he had to pit under green as well. Dalitz has competed in a few drift competitions in the past couple of weeks here in Japan, although he has had his teeth thoroughly kicked in. I don't think he's about to admit that, though. Instead, he opted to complain about his cars. Shinji Tanaka took the lead with thunderous applause from the crowd, but now he is coming under attack from Ashley Tucker, who started in 38, so we know she's got a very fast car. And Shinji Tanaka, it looks like he might give up the lead without too much of a fight. No, he's coming back down the backstretch, and he's able to hold off the 57, coming into turn 3 with a big run. But Ashley Tucker comes back as Tanaka is very slow off of turn 4. So Tanaka seemed to give that up a bit more easily than he indicated. Now I think he just overdrove turn 4. He ran it pretty wide, and that scrubbed off quite a bit of speed. And he's even coming back after the 57, so I'm pretty sure he didn't just give it up. Well, you're right, Tanaka is coming back after Ashley Tucker, but they've got Herbie Finkelberg breathing down their necks. Neither driver really has the upper hand coming down the backstretch as Finkelberg bears down, but Tanaka gets a big run into turn 3 and takes the lead back. Oh, look out for Shunsei Yu in the 85 car. Yu is this week's contestant in Empire's Drive the Dream program. I was kind of surprised to learn that that company had a sizable presence in Japan. In the meantime, Tanaka got held up a little bit by Calvin Arailer in the 672. Arailer got into that big crash at California when he pretty much blocked Vijay Pachanda for no reason. Kiriki Hitsuno breaks down from the 10th spot. That's the second race in a row where she's had a mechanical problem, and unfortunately this will also be Hitsuno's second DNF in a row. I think most of the Japanese drivers in the field are going to want to forget about this race. And Ebenezer Quiggles is running in 18th. I'm pretty sure he's going to want to forget about today if he continues on like this. But at least the points leader is on his way to finishing. After he got his 4th win of the year at Buffalo, he crashed out twice in a row. Both incidents were not of his own doing. We've heard recently that Quiggles could go Master Cup racing next year if his team owner, Marcus Leonard, decides to bring Fluffy Penguin Onion Burger up into that series full-time. I think it's guaranteed that he'll go to Cup if he wins the championship, and if he gets back to the form that he showed earlier in the season, I think he'll pretty much be unstoppable. Herbie Finkelberg has gotten around Ashley Tucker for a second, and, Shinji Tanaka checks up coming into turn 3, allowing Finkelberg to take the lead. Wow, that's the second time that we've seen Shinji Tanaka make a mistake, and the second place car took advantage. It's almost like he doesn't know how to lead a race, because when you're behind somebody, it's very easy to just follow them around the track and learn their line, but you're on your own when you're in the lead, and you've got a clean track in front of you. So it's like Tanaka's forgetting everything that he might have learned following other cars. Well, the track certainly isn't very clean for the leaders at the moment, as Finkelberg slices his way through lap traffic. Radomir Stanichev is right behind the 96, looking to get one of his laps back. Stanichev is currently 2 laps down. Alex Carson's day gets worse as he breaks down in the middle of the backstretch and has to park his car against the inside wall, bringing out our second caution. However, this problem is not terminal, although I wouldn't blame Carson if he wanted to end his race right there. The field pitted under this caution, and Shinji Tanaka is the leader on the restart. Like his teammate, Herbie Finkelberg's crew is not very dependable, it looks like, as he got shuffled back to third with Tucker in second. Alex Carson and Radomir Stanichev kind of force Ashley Tucker out of line as they try to chase down Tanaka and get some of their laps back. Kyle Gaffigan is currently in contention for a top 5 as we approach the halfway point of this race. Gaffigan has not had a very stellar year, and we believe that MRD Motorsports isn't too happy with him. But we've heard that if Gaffigan does have to shop around for a new ride, Atsuro Technologies is willing to stick with him. Philip Borland slows down on the front stretch and gets tagged by Libby Bell, bounces up into Casey Campbell, who goes for a wild ride down the front stretch as a big crash ensues. Let's have a look at Campbell. There's Borland bouncing into the 10 car. Campbell goes for several rolls down the front stretch, and that ride goes on for quite some time. I'm sure it felt like eternity for Campbell. The winner of the second round of Daytona comes up to a rest on her roof, but thankfully she was alright. Among the other drivers involved were pole sitter Barton Sandy, Ramsey Cockiner, and Libby Bell, who was cleared to drive, as we mentioned, in pre-race after her big crash in California, but now she's not going to get to bounce back as much as she might have hoped, as she has some significant damage on that 24 car, although her crew will do their best to get that repaired and get... Oh! And she just slammed into the back of the 33 of Rybert Scott for some reason. I don't know what that was about. We haven't had any sort of incident between those two at any point in this season, but Race Control definitely wanted to look at that. Shinji Tanaka continues to lead on the restart, but here come Alex Carson and Radomir Stanichev trying to get their laps back. Carson jumps out in front of the 839, but Tanaka is coming back, trying to deny Carson that lap. Carson is very determined to get by despite the miserable day that he's had. Ebenezer Quiggles Jr. is still stuck in the midfield. He tries to get around Kishio Yokoto, but he gets together with the 111, taking both cars into the wall. And Quiggles has significant damage on the front end of his Division by Zero car. Well, with the way things have been going for Quiggles lately, it was only a matter of time before he got screwed by something. He was probably going to be the first driver to completely dominate this series in quite some time, but now he's just getting wrecked left and right. Quiggles pitted and got his damage repaired. You see the front end missing on his car. He is currently one lap down as Patrick Henderson gets into the wall off of turn 4 and slides to a stop and almost gets clobbered by Alex Carson. It was bizarre to see him coming to a stop after brushing the wall, but we were told that some duct tape supporting the suspension came apart on the 11 car. But Henderson's crew got that patched up in the pit lane as we see a major stack-up under caution. Started when Kyle Gaffigan ran into the back of Jason Teller, and Bixby Foot slams into the back of Shin Sayu and gets hit pretty hard by Jason Bates. But there was even more to this as Lawrence Burr slams into the back of the 56 of Nicole Moreno. Oh, and here comes Libby Bell flying in, and she hits the 33 of Robert Scott once again. Jessica Graham and Jarko Forstrom join the fun as well. So Libby Bell appears to still have a problem with Robert Scott for whatever reason we may have missed. And of course, we've just had one of the most bizarre incidents under caution we've seen this year. Cars 37, 14, and 9 were all ordered to meet with race control after the event, and Libby Bell had already been ordered to meet with them after the race. In the meantime, Herbie Finkelberg leads on the restart. He had taken the lead from Shinji Tanaka before the caution came out. Ashley Tucker still occupies the second spot, but Shinji Tanaka is coming back for another go at the lead, and he will take it from Finkelberg without too much of a problem. Obviously, the Star Team Nemoto machine seems to be some very good equipment, as Tanaka is doing a fantastic job in his very first run in these cars. Remember, he didn't even have practice or qualifying, but Finkelberg is not about to give up the fight with Tanaka. Although he is currently trying to negotiate with the lap car of Alex Carson. No, Tanaka has a very slow run off of turn 2. And Finkelberg very quickly gets ahead of the 839 car. Ashley Tucker is trying to come after the 839 for second. Tanaka's inexperience in these cars seems to be getting the best of him again. Either that or he doesn't want to win this race. Well, I think I would have a hard time believing that because here comes Tanaka once again. He was able to hold off Ashley Tucker for second, but Finkelberg is doing a pretty good job holding him off throughout the corner. Let's see if Tanaka can make it stick. No, it doesn't look like he can. But Tanaka would get another shot at Finkelberg a few laps later. Finkelberg now checks up just a little bit coming off the corner. You just saw Jessica Graham in the pit lane. She was already running a lap down, but now she's got more problems with that 59 car. Story of her season. She's either getting wrecked or having mechanical problems, but Shinji Tanaka is now very slow in 1 and 2, so Finkelberg now scoots by him again. Now this has got to be embarrassing for Tanaka. He can obviously get up into the lead, but he can't seem to stay there. This time, Shinji Tanaka won't get another opportunity to try again, as Finkelberg has extended to a very comfortable lead. Now coming up on the 85 of Shunsei Yu once again. Oh, there's contact, and Finkelberg goes into the wall! That's a complete disaster for Finkelberg and Speed Vision. Oh, he gets clipped by Ashley Tucker as well, but Finkelberg was on his way to possibly making it a sweep for Speed Vision, but that plan goes down the drain thanks to a lapped car. It looks like Finkelberg is trying to avoid the 85 on the high side, but of course, Shunsei Yu, having never driven a race car before in his life, gives it too much gas off the corner and sweeps up in front of the 96. And you wonder why we've been questioning the Empire Drive the Dream program from the start. Finkelberg would remain in the race, but his pit crew would have to repair that significant damage under the caution. And remember that he also got together with the 57 of Tucker, so Tucker had to pit and get that damage repaired as well. Shinji Tanaka is back in the lead on the restart. Bill Tissam and Kyle Gaffigan are second and third. Jack Dempsey is up to fourth, after Finkelberg and Tucker fall out of the top 10. Tanaka opens up a comfortable lead over Tissam in the 07, who is faring much better than he did last week. Radomir Stanichev got one of his laps back a couple of cautions ago, so he is now just one lap down, and he's trying to work on the 39 to get that extra lap back. But Ashley Tucker, despite starting towards the back, really got going on that restart, and she's just been flying through the field like she's the star of a bad racing movie. She is already up into the top 10. That just goes to show how great her car has been today. And remember, she did not get any practice time with that car. Alex Carson had to pit for another problem after this restart, but he's still chugging along, a number of laps down to his credit. A number of drivers in the field have not had great things to say about Carson, especially a number of the female drivers, but you gotta admire his determination at this point. Despite having a miserable day, he's still trying to put down some fast laps. Carson has had only 2 victories in this series despite racing since 2007, but he's had some very fast cars this year. Shinji Tanaka still maintains his lead, but you probably just saw that blue bumper of Ashley Tucker. She has made her way up into second after starting in the back of the field on the restart. Tucker, the winner of the rookie shootout and the first round at Texas, is coming in a hurry, and she is right there as Shinji Tanaka checks up coming into turn 3, and just like that, Tucker is gone. Well, I'm not sure what the local fans are going to think about Tucker making mincemeat out of Tanaka, but you can't deny that she's on a mission right now. And apparently, Tucker's ride isn't even secured for 2013. She was on a 1-year contract with Riggs Motorsports, and she has yet to re-sign with that team, so she could possibly be driving to maintain her career at this point. But the race is going to end under caution. With just 2 laps to go, Scott Morales gets into the back of Takumi Nagata off of turn 4, and both cars go into the inside wall. But Ashley Tucker, who started in 38th place, completes her impressive drive after the final restart to take her 2nd win of the season. Carla Rosinski got by Shinji Tanaka in the final laps to take 2nd place. So a very good run for the Dash Cup regular in her debut. By the way, we have heard that Paul Lyons may get a shot in that 09 car at some point this year. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do with some better equipment than what he's getting now. Anyway, Tyson Lappenschlager in car 4 finishes 4th. A very good result for Carl's Racing, despite the fact that it is looking more and more unlikely that the team will retain Lappenschlager. Bill Tissam finishes 5th. Kyle Gaffigan comes back from that odd stack-up under caution to finish in 6th, although race control is still reviewing that incident. Jack Dempsey finishes 7th in his debut. No wonder he's going to be running for Rookie of the Year next season. Herbie Finkelberg comes back from that accident to finish in 8th, although I'm sure he would have liked to be the one doing the donuts instead of Ashley Tucker. It's kind of a shame to get taken out of contention by an idiot who doesn't know what the hell he's doing, but anyway, Jim Moore finishes in 9th for Great Lakes Motorsports, and Ramsey Cockiner rounds out the top 10. Eichholz Autosport has been working to develop Cockiner into one of the rising stars of this sport. Now, here are the point standings leaving the first round of the Japanese Tour, and to nobody's surprise, Ebenezer Quiggles Jr. is still on top, but Laura Cyrus has now pulled to within 15 points of Quiggles. However, the next race is at the road course up in Saitama, and Quiggles has been very good on the road courses this year, although I do use the term road course very loosely when talking about Saitama. Anyway, you have Jenny Kuznetsov. Despite failing to finish, retains 3rd place in the point standings, although he is a distant 119 points back. Leslie Riggs is coming very close to overtaking Kuzi in the point standings. Eric Jackson is in 5th, and his incident with Namimura under caution is still being reviewed. Bigsby Foot is 6th, David Kokorian 7th, Britt Tyler 8th, Andy Pearson 9th, and on the bright side of Alex Carson's miserable day, he is in 10th. Todd Stater, unfortunately, has fallen out of the top 10 due to his accident in the first round. He is, in fact, tied for that spot with Tiffany Matthews. Ashley Tucker is up to 13th, Rachel Rainsford 14th, Michael Madrigal 15th, Robert Scott 16th. Zachary Zins continues to make his way forward. He is now up to 17th. Bobby Porteau is 18th. Herbie Finkelberg is 19th. And Darren Grant, we haven't talked about this at any point today, but Cash Racing withdrew from the ARLA Elite Series before this race. Grant is still in 20th place. He is in a tie with Lane Cranston for that position, although I imagine that will change after the next race, which is kind of unfortunate because Grant had a promising rookie campaign going.